What's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. Big shout out to my doggy Robbie Blythe for coming through and boosting up the coin. So we talked about Fake the Cake Paul and Canelo Alvarez a few days ago, but since then Jake Paul's put some leaked documents out. Let's watch this video exposing the fact that Canelo is making out that Canelo says, I never would have fought a YouTuber. It turns out Jake Paul puts receipts out there showing he was going to do the fight. And I mentioned this a few days ago. Don't get involved in negotiations with this clown if you're not going to fill him in. What's the point doing that? It gives him the, this guy's ducking me. Carrot Top's ducking me. Woo, woo, woo. You can argue, OIB. What does that matter? It doesn't need to be done. Someone fill this guy in. I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't get it. What's the problem with having Canelo fill him in? The minute someone explains that to me, who isn't on Turkey's payroll, because all the Turkey channels have come out, Turkey's so hard for cucking this fight. How is that good? That he gets to swan around still. Yeah? This fight, people, look here, look. This fight was... Watch this one here, look. Jake vs Canelo was planned as a cruiserweight fight. Team Canelo approached us to do the fight at 190. We said it made no sense to take away the one advantage the public would see for Jake, his size. So the agreement was a standard cruiserweight fight. 12 3-minute rounds, people. 12 3-minute rounds. Who doesn't want to watch that? Oh, YB, well, good for real boxing. How isn't it? You man can slag Fake the Cake Paul off. He does train. He wants it. Give it to him. It's not like he's a proper... Like KSI, for example. He's a proper clown. He's a proper clown. A proper clown. I'll give Jake Paul more respect than KSI. What's KSI doing? Nothing. Jake Paul, to be fair to him, well, he lost to Tommy. But he lost to Tommy. I don't know what I'm saying, man. It's getting punched up. How about that? We don't have to, in the fight game. You don't have to talk about things. Yeah. If Turkey believes this guy's a joker, you show that. Canelo goes in there, whaps him all around the place, and it's done. Bye bye. All over. No excuses. Instead, now he's got plausible deniability. Well, I told you I whooped Canelo's ass. Well, I can't even get the big fighters to fight me. They don't want it. The argument is, well, he up the ranks, but he'd never be fighting Canelo anyway. In terms of weights. So,
oh, Canelo, you puta.
Anyway, let's get to the bars and Fake the Cake Paul.
Oh, Canelo, you puta.
This fucking YouTuber. I just fight real fighters.
Time to expose them. So we had a signed contract to fight. Here you can see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right. Claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. Bullshit. Look at the poster. We were announcing Tuesday, February 11th. Claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benavidez, you bitch.
And that's the problem as well with the narrative that, oh yeah, Turkey saved boxing and Turkey did this, Turkey did that. It's not like Canelo's been fighting killers. He's been fighting bums, to be honest. I made this point months ago. It's not like he's in there with the Golovkins, Benavidez, and he's still super serious. Bumlanga. You saw how useless Jaime Chinguia was. Jaime Chinguia got knocked out by a dude with a 5% KO ratio. He don't knock no one out. Sparked. And Canelo went life and death with Munguia. That was a close fight. So let's not make out that he's proper doing things right now. He's semi-retired and that's fine for him. Fill this guy in during your semi-retirement. Yeah? They're talking about Canelo versus William Skull now. That William Skull guy, his eyes are crossed, man. He's got cross eyes. Not knocking it, obviously. Some men have to have cross eyes. He's got cross eyes. He can't do nothing in there. Yeah, forget about him. He can't punch either. So you're delusional. Oh, I'd rather watch William Skull versus Canelo, or I'd rather watch Jamal Charlo versus Canelo than Fake the Cake Paul. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't know what. Maybe I just love whatever, but these are dead anyway. Yes, the Crawford fight's cool. But guess what? In May, he fills in Fake the Cake Paul. September, he fights Crawford. And again, the next joke is, Turkey's got Canelo in there with Hamza Shiraz. Chris Eubank Jr., right? So it's not like he's in there. Benavidez isn't mentioned once in that 4-fight deal. Oops. So it's not like he's in there fighting the top. Eubank, what's Eubank done? Hamza Shiraz, fair enough. He might become world champion. We don't know yet, though. I assume he will, but he might not. And if he doesn't, what then? Do you know what I'm saying? It's just off key for me.
The truth is, you can be bought. You're a money-hungry squirrel chasing your next nut. The truth is, these sports-washing, shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening because they couldn't fathom the fact that they can't create a bigger fight than me and you. Al Heyman has made you hundreds of millions of dollars, and you turned your back on him for this check. Disloyal. And you were begging to do this fight on pay-per-view. But I have loyalty. Loyalty to Netflix, doing the biggest numbers. And you call me a YouTuber, but you've never had a boxing match as big as mine. Remember you told my team that your daughter came home and asked if you were fighting Jake Paul? She was all excited. You said that was the first time your daughter's ever asked you about a fight. And you're screwing over all your Mexican fans by doing your fights in Saudi. It just shows what type of person you are. And I promise you one thing, Canelo. Any fight that you do this year, mine will be bigger. So go fuck off.
Well, I'm not sure about that, to be fair. Oh, who's he going to fight now? I don't know how he's going to do a bigger fight than that. That Mike Tyson fight was big because of Mike. Yeah, Tommy Fury versus Jake didn't do no numbers. So that debunks the fact that it's Jake Paul. I could have dragged, right? Put me in there with Mike Tyson on Netflix. That would have done good numbers. It probably wouldn't have done, but you get the point I'm making. So he's not going to have a bigger fight than Canelo's fight with Crawford. But he does bring a good point up. Because apparently now in Saudi, they're flying Canelo out to Saudi. And they're doing the fights in the morning. In the States time. So these fighters are going to have to fight at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning in Saudi time. So that it's prime time for the States. I'm not sure how good. Who wants to be up at 3 in the morning? I don't care. You can can you train your body to be awake at 3 or 4 a.m.? You can do if you're proper neeking out on the cane in the computer screen and you become nocturnal. I've done it myself before. But that's like that takes months of degeneracy to end up staying up all night and sleeping all day kind of thing. One of them ones. I'm not sure. There's no way. It's for trainers, for fighters who are training properly. It's not good to be fighting that late at night. But here we are.
To your boss, you Ring magazine employee, you pink and orange bitch. And oh, fix that herpes on your lip, you dirty puta.
Oh my god, man. Why they violate? Is it really a herpes on his lip?
Orange bitch. And oh, fix that herpes
man.
on your lip.
Is that real? Let's have a look if it was real from the first video, shall we?
Tuber. I just fight. Real fight.
No, it does look a bit. It does actually look a bit herpes-ish. He's been kissing too much moody butthole. Yeah, too much moody panans. To be fair though, in Mexico they got some of the finest brothels I've heard. This Carrot Top dude, he's been engorging himself in the Guadalajara cartel brothels. That's what that herpes thing shows there. He love it. They tell you pretty early on in the game, you're not supposed to kiss no hookers, man, like that. But this Canelo dude, he too much in the mix. He probably got 5 at a time, all up in there and that, all herpy looking. I'm gonna lie, man. I bet his breath is hot. Come on, people, look at that there. You zoom in some more. Oh, I can't even zoom in, but trust me, there's a herpiness there. In fact, I'm gonna zoom in for you, man. That's what I'm gonna do. Zoom in, right quick. Can you see it on there? I assume you can. See the herpy? See the herpy there, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's a herpy for real. Tell the truth. Anywho, now we're gonna go to Turkey's bars because Turkey let slip that Jake Paul actually offered more coins to Canelo than Turkey offered, which tells me, guess what, people? You might think boxing's won right now, but guess what? If Jake Paul has offered that amount of money that rivals / beats the Saudis, that's what Turkey said. Guess what? The fight's going to happen. Unless, well, It's not going to happen like that. But the only way this Jake Paul fight can be stopped forever is if somehow Turkey's paying Canelo 100 million plus every 6 months for the next 10 years, right? And even then, when he's 45, he might think, well, that 10-year Turkey deal's finished now. I'll fight Fake the Cake Paul for 100 million. So what have he really done here? I'll tell you what Turkey's really done, which is an unintended consequence. What he's really done is, if he keeps Canelo busy for the next 5 years, guess what? All that will happen is that we'll see a 45-year-old Canelo in there with Fake the Cake Paul. Right? And it might all be fine, and Canelo should really punch him up even at 45. But if he don't, why take that risk for? Get him out of here. Why take the risk that Jake Paul could compete with 45-year-old Canelo? Fill him in now. Get rid of him. Canelo, I don't understand how these people think. Oh yeah, it's making the sport look bad. It's not making the sport look bad at all. Canelo goes in. The only way it makes the sport look bad is if Canelo goes life and death with Fake the Cake Paul. That would look bad, right? But there's no way. The bookies were saying it was 5,000 plus 5,000 for Canelo. So you got to put $5,000 down. No, sorry, minus 5,000. You got to put $5,000 down to win £100, to win $100 profit. That's ridiculous. I wouldn't put money on. I don't think it's that close. I don't think it's that wide, to be honest. He'd get filled in, but I wouldn't be. I won't be putting down 5 bags to win £100. Never. That means you've got to put down £500 to win a tenner back. Never am I doing that. Never am I doing that. £50 down to win £1. Never. Not in a month for Sundays am I doing that rubbish. That's no good. You'd have to put like 50 million on to make any money. Never. Anyway, so you can see here Canelo, what's his name? Not Canelo. Fake the Cake Paul's ducking. He's putting up memes and whatnot. And some people have said, oh, that contract, you can see it in this video. The contract that Jake Paul put out, they said, oh, that's not really a fight contract. That's some sort of, what they call it, a term sheet, or not a term sheet, a non-disclosure agreement. Where was it? Here. They said, oh, this isn't this is a non-disclosure agreement. Woo, 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 woo. That's not a real contract. Come on, people. If you want to argue that this isn't really Canelo's signature, that's possible. I don't know what his signature looks like, but if Canelo really did sign any paper to do with Jake Paul, that tells you the fight was happening. Eddie Hearn came out and said the fight was happening. Some cornballs have said, oh no, Canelo's a 5-dimensional entity, and he was playing Turkey and getting more money out of him. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't at all. That's not what he was doing. Canelo had a free fight deal that started in September, and he wanted to fight in May. He was tendering offers, and Jake Paul's was massive, so he was going for that. That's what happened, for sure. And Turkey then, for whatever reason, got a bee in his bonnet. What do they call it? Messiah complex. Turkey's got this Messiah complex that he has to save and intervene in everything. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe if Turkey put a poll out to boxing fans, what would you do? Who here wants to see Canelo have a go on Jake Paul? Compare the yes and no's. I don't know though, there's a lot of cucked man out there. I've seen a lot of comments saying, yeah, he saved boxing, he saved us. You man, I'm cross-eyed. I've got to say that. Anyone who thinks this fight not happening is saving boxing is delusional. It prolongs this rubbish. Because Tommy Fury couldn't get it done properly. Tommy Fury went life and death. Arguably, well, it certainly elevated Jake Paul to Tommy Fury's level, right? Whatever that's worth, which is not a lot, but still. So he can box to some extent. It's not like Tommy went in there and slapped him from left to right for 12 rounds or 8 rounds or whatever. So there's something there. Canelo could have extinguished that. That's what he could have done. Anyway, to the bars now from... You know, he's just clowning him here, look. Just clowning dude.
Canelo, I'm coming, my puta. Hi!
See, I don't find it funny, but this is the point I've been making. This could be all over in 3 months, people. Why would you give him this leverage? The leverage of punked a real boxer, punked him. He was going to sign, but he got shook. He got cold feet at the last minute. Why would you give him that for? Yeah, if Canelo had ideological reasons, he never should have entertained it. But to get halfway and then backpedal, oh, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. Unnecessary look. Anyway, let's get to some of the bars from Turkey now.
It's a big offer for him. And I don't match this offer, to be honestly. But he know inside him.
So there's Turkey saying they didn't match the Jake Paul offer.
Last night, at the last minute, to make sure this happens. Was this fight with Jake Paul in your minds going to happen unless you stepped in last night at the last minute?
It was big offer for him. And I don't match this offer, to be honestly. But he know inside him this match is not the right of his legacy.
Now I disagree with that. Turkey's saying, yeah. Turkey's implying that, oh yeah, Canelo believed with my ideology that wasn't real boxing. Despite me offering less money than Jake Paul, he went with me. Which is not true. What really happened was, Turkey put the 3-fight deal on the line. Yeah? So a 3 or 4 fight deal with Turkey, I'm pretty sure, would have beat the Jake Paul deal. What Turkey's really saying is, Turkey didn't offer more money for that one extra fight in May that Jake Paul was offering. Yeah? That's what he didn't do. He didn't offer more money for that one particular fight. But the 4-fight deal, that's why Canelo backtracked. Because say, for example, let's say Turkey offered 400 million for a 4-fight deal. If Jake Paul had offered 800 million for one fight, Canelo would have gone straight there. Maybe, was that the case? Was it possible that the Jake Paul Canelo offer was even bigger than the 4-fight deal? Very unlikely. Even if you go on low term, let's say it's 50 mil a piece, that's a $200 million deal from Turkey. Who here thinks Jake Paul was able to offer more than 200 million for one fight? I'd be very shocked. Very shocked. Not likely. So Turkey's 1-fight deal in May, or for one of the fights, didn't match, which makes sense. Yeah, Canelo versus William Skull is never going to do numbers with Jake Paul and Canelo on Netflix, ever. But it was a 4-fight deal. But guess what? When that 4-fight deal runs out, unless Turkey can keep funding these big numbers, he's going to end up back there anyway. The difference will be, though, after fighting Hamza Shiraz and Eubank and potentially Benavidez and Terence Crawford, how much do them fights? They're talking about Bivol as well. So put all these top fights in there. By the time he's had all them top fights, how much of him is left? And for all we know, if these guys had given him tough fights, he's a sack of potatoes. This is the last thing you want. Because you're delusional if you think Turkey's stopped this from ever happening. All he's done is delayed it until Canelo's in an even more diminished position. 4 years from now, after Beterbiev, Bivol, Benavidez, Crawford, Hamza Shiraz have all been in there. Whether win, lose or draw, they're going to be hard fights. 4 years from now, Canelo's 39. Everyone's had a go on him, or he's been life and death with everyone who's any good. And then bash, Jake Paul's sitting there with the Netflix 200 million bag. Bash. Oops. That'll be the people. If you think that Jake Paul Canelo in May is a travesty, what'll be a real travesty is if in 4 years the fight happens and Canelo's a shot to pieces version of himself and he makes a meal of it. That'll be a bigger travesty. So it's all good. It's all fun and games. Hey, Turkey. Whoa. It's all good sucking Turkey off now. But we'll be the ones. Oh, I'll be pissed off. If I see Canelo in there, shadow of himself, making a meal of it, I'm going to be pissed. Because we could have settled this in May and it'll all be over. Properly filled him in. Do you understand? So at this end, I don't know. I don't know what people I don't understand. Maybe Turkey's part of the ploy. Maybe Turkey's part of the clown show to prolong this clown show. Because it don't make no sense to me at all. At all. Canelo versus Jake Paul would have set the stage to make a bigger Crawford Canelo as well. It would have done, bottom line. All them houses on Netflix, 100 million houses on Netflix, watching it live, that's not going to hurt your pay-per-view in September. People, no one's tuning in to watch Canelo versus William Skull. 0 people will tune in. No one's tuning in for that ever. So Crawford's not even fighting. Crawford, the last time people saw Crawford before September 25 was the stinker with Madrimov. Right? No one even remembers his ass. Fact. No one cares about Canelo versus William Skull. So even from a business sense, Turki's played himself. Yeah? In May, Canelo could have gone in there, punched Jake Paul up in front of 100 million people, embarrassed Fake the Cake Paul. Done a justice. Bear in mind, them Netflix guys, yeah, we all know what we saw. We was embarrassed for Mike. So seeing a real boxer go in there and pummel this guy, it's a perfect narrative. Canelo, the saviour, the Captain America kind of thing. Captain Mexico, come save the day. He takes all that clout of whooping the corny kid no one can stand and rolls it on into a real boxing fight, which is, I mean, I don't know what planet you man are, I'm sorry. People, if I was running Turkey's operation financially, I'd be like, wicked Canelo, do that fight, man, yeah. You want more eyeballs on your asset. You don't want less. Oh, well, but it's about the real boxing. Is it? You weren't saying that when he was fighting Bum Langer. I'm being funny, but what's Bum Langer done, man? What's Bum Langer done? What has Edgar Bum Langer done, really? What's he done? Nothing. They're annoying.
And when the perfect time, when I call him, he's a smart guy, and he know what's better for him.
And obviously, Canelo Alvarez is one of the best fighters in the world, right? He's the biggest star in boxing by far. He's the face of the sport. You think it would have been perhaps beneath him, right, to fight a Jake Paul?
In my opinion, in this age and in this time, we must have this kind of legend and fighters fight great and big fights. Because he's now in the mid of 30.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to waste time.
Right. And I'm imagining from your perspective, you had this major fight with Terrence Crawford planned for September. You don't want some circus fight leading up to it. Was that your issue?
I have advice for the platforms.
So, I guess the problem is Turkey's not doing this as a business, right? But look at this guy here. This is the guy you can see here on Ring Magazine. Where is it? Here it is, came out today. Announced, Canelo will face William Skull for the undisputed ring, WBA, IBF. So it makes Canelo undisputed. That's all this does. Which is good for the September fight with Crawford. But in my opinion, what's Crawford been doing? Yeah? You should have had Canelo versus Jake Paul in May. He's already got 3 belts. And then get Crawford in there with William Skull to get him acclimatized to the weight. And then you've got a champion versus champion fight. I guess the argument is, well, the IBF aren't going to sanction it because they're moody. So it wasn't, I guess Canelo had to fight that guy if they wanted all the belts. Maybe that's the angle that you can reasonably argue.
Hey guys, don't pay attention in anything. In this fucking YouTuber. I just fight real fighters. Don't fucking around with Canelo.
He had a gun to his head, man. Turkey sent one of them Khashoggi hitters to stand post up with this guy. You don't even believe what he's saying, listen.
In YouTuber. I just fight real fighters. Don't fucking around.
Yeah, but you duck Benavidez, right? Let's call it a spade here. Yeah? And if we're to laud Turkey as the saviour, and he has done a lot of good things, but let's call it a spade. The saviour would say, Canelo, I'm only paying you if you're fighting Benavidez. Oops. If you're going to suck off real boxing, there's nothing real really about Jamal Charlo, William Skull, all these other Bummingtons no one's interested in. Eubank Jr., even Hamza, man, really. He would have had one world title fight by the time the Canelo situation comes around. They're not real fights, to be honest. Benavidez is there, ready to go, man. He's chomping at the bit. You understand? So it's one of them ones. Turkey's defining what real boxing is to him, but that's not actually real boxing. Real boxing would be, for me, you're either doing it all real or you're not. And if we're not doing it all real, which we're not, with Eubank getting a shot in 26, Eubank, he got punched up by George Groves 10 years ago. What are you talking about Eubank? All due respect. Eubank and Conor Henn, that's another clown show. What's that? That's not real boxing, really, is it? I'll watch it. I'm down. People, I'm not into real boxing like that. I find value in Eubank versus Ben. I find value in Canelo punching Jake Paul's head off. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, we'll make clown shows for Eubank and Ben, but then we won't let Canelo punch his head off. You're picking and choosing, which ain't right. And I'd argue, I'd rather watch Canelo versus Jake Paul over 99% of offerings. Honestly. What makes a fight entertaining is the investment emotionally. Imagine seeing Jake Paul like field the first shot and he's on his butt. You can't buy that, man. You can't buy that. It's watching one of them hooks whip in and he's like, you can't. I'm sorry, you can't. That's what entertainment is. Entertainment isn't necessarily this, that, or the other. It's seeing some big old useless mouth job panic in there. That's entertainment. And I'd sit there watching it saying, oh, you fuck now. You food now. That's what I'll be doing. That's what I'll be doing for sure. Yeah. But we've missed that now. And instead we've got Canelo versus Cross Eyes. Come on, people. Look at this. This is William Skull. 39% KO ratio against bums. Pure bums. Yeah? This guy, William Skull, his fight before last, he was having 8 rounders. Yeah? He fought Vladimir Shishkebab in October, and that was a 12 rounder. The next most recent fight, in May 24, he fought Sean Hemphill, an 8 rounder, and it was a stinker on points. His fight before that, in October 23, he fought Christian Fabian, and he went 6 rounds. It was a 6 rounder, sorry. So 2 or 3 fights before this Canelo fight, he was having 6 rounders and going life and death in them. Yeah? In October 2023, William Skull fought this guy. 0 stars. 24 and 19. And he went life and death. Points. Over 6 rounds. With a man who's 23 and 19. That's what he did. Do you understand, people? This ain't real boxing. Yeah, you're getting a belt. Yeah, William Skull should never have a belt. I don't know what the IBF rankings are doing for this dude to end it with a belt. Who's he beat? Vladimir Shishkebab. Oh, come on, people. Come on, man. These guys are having 10 rounders and 8 rounders. I didn't think that was... How can champions who have been doing 8 rounders... How can people become champion doing 8 rounders? I've never heard of that before. It's quite odd, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, I like Turkey in terms of... He's a net benefit. There's no doubt about it. But he's got a bit... For me, on this one, he's got a bit carried away. Thinking he's got to be all in the video kind of thing. Yeah? Who said that? You're going to be all in the videos. It was shook. It was shook talking about Diddy, man. Diddy want to be all in the videos. That's what Turkey feels like now. He's putting himself in places he don't need to be. Turkey did not need to get in the way of Jake Paul getting punched up by Carrot Top. That's what he didn't need to intervene in. There's a whole bunch of other places he could intervene. Like I said before, he should intervene in Anthony Yarde fighting Lyndon Arthur. Right? Let's get that off. Let's get an intervention there. No one wants to see that rubbish. That needs to be intervened in. Stop playing. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, like up the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this, so people stop it.